Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
How are you all?
Walaikum
Fine,
salam,
sir.
sir.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, fine, sir.
Alhamdulillah.
How are you, sir?
Tell me the last part what we had discussed in last class.
So we have done the from cross product. We have done area of parallelogram.
Okay. We have just finished cross product. I'm defining one more term related to that particular cross product. We have mainly two different types of vector. First one is polar vector and the next one is axial vector. Polar vector and axial vector. So what do you mean by polar vector or axial vector? Let's say if you have a body, mass m, and if a force is applied on this particular object, so it will move along the direction of its application of force. So all of the vector which lies or align along the motion of body are called as polar vector. So polar vector means vector which lies or whose direction lies along the motion of object. So these are nothing but displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, linear momentum, or you can say all quantity which are translational part, or the quantity which is defined for straight line motion are called as polar vector. Similarly, if a body which is revolving around a fixed axis, let's say if you have a fixed axis and a body is revolving around it, so we define some vector whose direction lies along the axis of this particular rotation. Those vectors are called axial vector. So we can say vector which lies or whose direction lies along the axis of rotation, like theta, angular velocity, angular acceleration, torque, angular momentum. We will discuss this whole part in chapter number 7. These are nothing but rotational quantity. Now, there is a relation to define this and this. So, how to define the relationship between these two terms? First is displacement and this particular theta. So it will be dl is equals to d theta cross r. Similarly, velocity is equals to omega cross r. Acceleration is equals to alpha cross r. The next part is torque is equals to r cross f. And angular momentum is equals to r cross p. So these are certain relationship between polar vector and axial vector, and they are related by just cross product. Okay. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just write it down. Have you all written?
Yes, sir, done.
Salman?
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay. There is one more relation which we call as Lagrange relation. This is to define relationship between dot product and cross product. Let's say if you have A dot B, which is nothing but magnitude of A, magnitude of B times cos theta. Similarly, A cross B mod is equals to nothing but magnitude of A, magnitude of B times sin theta. So first relation is to define, if we divide these two terms, it will give you tan theta is equals to A cross B mod divided by A dot B. Next, if you take square of these two terms and sum them or add them, so it will be A dot B square plus A cross B mod square. This term will give you A square plus B square cos square theta. So A square B square cos square theta. And this term will give you A square B square and sine square theta. If we take out common as A square B square, so we're left with cos square theta plus sine square theta. And this particular term is nothing but equals to, Anza, tell me the value of this particular expression. Hiba? Yes, Khalid.
Sir, 1.
Good. So sine square theta plus cos square theta is equals to 1. So what we're left with? A square into B square. So they will give you dot product or cross product and ask you to find value of A, B. Similarly, there would be a relation like this, and they will ask you to find theta or any of the expression. So just remember these two relations between dot product and cross product. Just write it down. Done. Hamza?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm giving you a problem regarding this. If A is equals to 2 unit, B is equals to 5 unit, and A cross B mod is equals to 8 unit. Find A dot B and theta. Try to solve. Any doubt while solving? Hiba?
No, sir.
Okay. Should I solve? Khalid?
Yes, sir, I am stuck. Could you explain?
We have magnitude of A as 2 unit, magnitude of B as 5 unit, and A cross B mod is 8 unit. So using this, you will find A dot B just by using this relation. We have A dot B square is equal plus A cross B mod square is equals to A square B square. So just use this relation and try to find A dot B. Is it clear, Hamza?
Yes, sir.
Try to solve. A dot B squared plus A cross B mod squared is equals to A squared B squared, or you may write it as AB whole square. You have value for A, B, A cross B mod. Just put them and try to simplify for A dot. Hamza, tell me the values. A cross B mod is nothing but 8. So we can write it as 8 square is equals to A is 2 and B is 5 and whole square. And we're left with A dot B in left hand side. Now move this particular term to the other side. It will become 100 minus 64 is equals to A dot B square. So 100 minus 64 becomes 36. And here we have square. So we take square root A dot B. Now on taking square root, its value would be positive or negative both. So it will be plus minus 6. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we have to calculate theta. So we have a relation tan theta is equals to A cross B mod divided by A dot B. A cross B mod is nothing but A and A dot B is nothing but plus minus 6. So we can write plus minus 4 by 3 is equals to tan theta. And I have defined you, or just remember this particular triangle. If this is your theta, this is 4, 3, and 5. So the angle opposite to this particular 3 would be 37 degree, and opposite to 4 would be 53 degree, and this would be a 90 degree. So just see in this particular expression, here we have two different parts. First one is positive and the second one is negative. So we can write tan theta is equals to 4 by 3 and tan theta is equals to minus 4 by 3. So for this value, tan theta is perpendicular by base. The perpendicular is 4 and base is 3. So it means theta is equals to 53 degree. And in this expression, theta is minus 4 by 3 means subtract that particular angle from 180 degree. So it will become 180 degree minus 53 degree, or you may say 127 degree. Is it clear how I have obtained this relation?
Yes, sir.
About any doubt?
No,
So
sir.
remember this particular triangle. This is some spatial triangle. Khalid, any doubt?
Sir, how did you get the angles again?
Just remember this particular spatial triangle. If it is 3, 4, 5, these 3 is Pythagorean triplet, so it must be forming a right angle triangle. 3 square plus 4 square is 25 square, which is nothing but 5. So 3 and opposite to that would be 37. 4 and opposite to it would be 53 degree. Just remember this particular triangle. Okay. This is calculated value for this particular triangle. Okay, Khalid.
Yes, sir.
So if tan theta is equals to 4 by 3, it means theta would be 53 degree from this particular triangle. And if tan theta is in negative, it means subtract that particular theta from 180 degree, which we have discussed in our trigonometric section in mathematical physics. Okay, Khalid.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just write it down.
Done, sir.
Hamza, done?
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay. I'm giving you one last part. If A dot B is equals to A cross B, find theta. Just use this concept. I'm trying to find theta. Good. Good, Khalid. You can write this particular term as 1 is equals to A cross B mod divided by A dot B. Now this particular term is nothing but tan theta. So from this we can relate tan theta is equals to 1. So what would be the theta for which its value would be 1? Hamza? Hiba?
Sir, 10:45.
Good. So it will be 45 degrees. I think you have done mistake while bringing this particular term to this. You have put here to be 0. Okay,
Yes, sir.
good.
Sir, why are we putting one instead of 0?
We have this whole part. So there must be 1 multiplied with every term, as 1 is
Oh, okay, sir.
multiplicative factor of each term. So when you move this particular term to the other side in division or multiplication, there should be coefficient as 1. Okay. But if you move this particular term as sum or difference, so we leave 0 instead. Okay. Is it clear, Salman?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is all about vector and their product and their relationship. Now let's move on to a new topic that is called projectile motion. So first of all, what do you mean by projectile? So projectile is nothing but motion of an object in two-dimensional plane under the effect of gravity alone is called projectile motion. Okay. Two-dimensional plane means it will have motion along x-axis as well as y-axis both. So it will call projectile motion. The motion of a body in two-dimensional plane under the effect of gravity alone is called projectile motion. There are some limitations of this projectile. First, air resistance is neglected. Second, gravity is constant for entire term. Now, on the basis of which we have mainly two different projectile. First one is horizontal projectile, and the second one is angular or oblique projectile. So what do you mean by horizontal projectile and what do you mean by angular projectile? I'm defining it. First of all, write it down. Have you all written?
No, sir.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Sir, wait.
Done, sir.
Okay. Khalid, done?
Sir, wait. I got disconnected. The last point.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Done.
Now the first part is horizontal projectile. if a body or a stone or any of the object is projected horizontally with constant velocity, then its motion would be regarded as horizontal projectile. If a body, stone, is projected horizontally at constant velocity from any building, cliff, tower, or anything. Or it may be if a body is dropped from any horizontal moving body, let's say for any aircraft, any vehicle, and so on. Or it may be if a body is dropped from any aircraft, vehicle, which is moving horizontally at constant velocity. So in all of these cases, its motion will be called as horizontal projectile. Now, how it would look like? Let's say if you have a building and there is horizontal path, suppose a body is thrown from this point. So it will have initial component of velocity along horizontal direction, but it will be acted by gravity at each instant. So its path will change like this. And so it will fall at this particular point. So this will be your horizontal velocity along x-axis, but at each point, it will be acted by gravity along vertically downward. So its motion will be both along y-axis as well as x-axis. So from here, if we can define its motion, since initially at this point, so this will be at this point. If this goes to this direction, this will move to this, and further it will reach the ground at this point. Similarly, on going downward, it will be at this point, it will be at this point, and finally it will reach the ground at this point. So this is along vertical direction due to gravity, and this is along horizontal direction due to its horizontal component of velocity. So on combination of these two segments, it is called as horizontal projectile motion. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So this particular motion in that particular object is due to gravity, and this particular horizontal motion in this particular object is due to horizontal motion or horizontal velocity. So we mainly have two different components. One is along x-axis and the other is along y-axis. So I'm defining component along x-axis and component along y-axis. Let's say first motion along x-axis. Initial velocity and acceleration. So initial velocity, the body is projected horizontally with some constant velocity, that is u. So it will be u. And since this particular velocity is constant, so we can say its acceleration would be 0. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, on the basis of these two terms, we will define two different parts. First, final velocity, and next is displacement. We have equation of motion. First, v is equals to u plus at. As in this particular equation, acceleration is 0. So your velocity along x-axis final would be just u. So this would be your first equation. And displacement along x-axis would be just u times t, as acceleration along x-axis is 0. So this will be your second equation. Is it clear to everyone how I have obtained this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Iba, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Salman, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Similarly, if I have to define along y-axis, so there would be some initial velocity along y-axis and acceleration along y-axis. Just see in this particular part at this instant, it is going horizontally. So there will be no component along vertical direction. So we can say it will have vertical component as 0. Is it clear? Hamza, is it clear how I have
Sir, can you
written
tell
what?
again?
Since this particular object is going horizontally, so initially it is projected along horizontal direction. So there will be no component of velocity along vertical direction. So we can say uy, or initial velocity along y component, would be 0.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now at each instant, it will be acted upon by gravity along vertical direction. So this will be your acceleration along y-axis as gravity. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, on the basis of these two terms, I have to define final velocity and displacement. So just use first equation, which is equals to u plus at. As u is 0, a is g into t. So this will be your final velocity. And displacement, s is equals to ut plus half at square. As u is 0, so we're left with just half gt square. So this will be your third equation, and this will be your fourth equation. Now we have in total 4 different equations, on the basis of which we will define different components: range, height, time of flight, and so on. So what do you mean by x and y from this particular graph? Let's say point or object has reached to this point at any instant of time. So it will have a horizontal component of velocity final, and there will be a vertical component of velocity. So the total distance along horizontal direction at this instant would be x, and total distance along y-axis would be y. Now, this total term from this point from the board, from which the body has thrown horizontally to this horizontal point, is called as height of projection. And total distance from the starting till it fall to the ground is called as range. The resultant of two different velocity at this point would be called as final velocity, and there is some inclination in between them, so we can call them as theta. Now, on the basis of this whole term, we have to calculate height, range, final velocity, theta, and so on. First of all, write it down. I'm defining how to calculate this.
Done, sir.
Okay.
Done, sir.
Salman, have you written? Hamza, done?
So just the last part.
Wait a second, sir.
Done, sir.
Salman, done?
Yes, sir.
Now we have mainly 4 equations which we have to solve to find different terms. First is Bx is equals to u. This is your first equation. X is equals to u times t. This is your second equation. Vy is equals to g into t. This is your third equation. And y is equals to half gt square. This is your fourth equation. First term is time of flight. So what do you mean by time of flight? The total time taken by that particular particle to reach the ground from starting position is called time of flight. So for this, use equation 4 and put y is equals to h. Put y is equals to h in equation 4. So if you solve this particular equation, it will be h is equals to half times gt square, or if you move these terms to the other side, so t would be equals to 2 times of h by gravity root under. So this would be your time of flight. Similarly, if you have to calculate height of projection, height from which the body is projected. So for this, put y is equals to h in equation 4. Same as what we have done here. So it will be nothing but h is equals to half gt squared. There is one last part which is called range. The total horizontal distance body has covered on falling the ground. So it will be nothing but total horizontal distance, that will be x. So put x is equals to r and t as time of flight. So r is equals to u times root under 2h by g. So this will be your different expression regarding time of flight, height from which the body has dropped or thrown, and total horizontal distance it will cover till it will hit the ground. Now, we have certain known relation regarding this. If you want to calculate this particular final velocity, which is nothing but resultant of these two terms, and this Vx and this Vy is inclined each other at 90 degree. So if a vector which is inclined at 90 degree, so theta would be 90. So resultant of vector is equals to a square plus b square plus 2ab cos 90 degree, and cos 90 degree would be 0. So your final velocity from this expression would be nothing but root under x component square and y component square. X component is nothing but u, so it will be u square, and y component is nothing but gt, so it will be gt square and under root. Is it clear how I have obtained this? Hamza?
Yes, sir.
The next term is to define angle, or they will call you direction. Just see in this diagram, this is your angle, which is in between x component and this resultant. So x component will be treated as base and y component will be treated as perpendicular. So tan theta is equals to perpendicular divided by base. We have component Vy as gt and value of Vx as u. Just put it, so it will be g times t divided by u, which is equals to tan theta. There is one last part to define equation of trajectory. So first of all, what do you mean by equation of trajectory or simply trajectory? Trajectory is nothing but path along which particle will move during its projectile motion is called as trajectory. So trajectory is nothing but path of movement of body. For this, we have to define relationship between x and y. Just see in equation 2, there is x, and equation 4, there is y. We have to somehow simplify this term in terms of x and y only. So if I write t in terms of x from equation 2, or if I obtain a relation of t from this equation and put it in the value of t in equation 4, it will be from equation 2, e is equals to x divided by u. And if I put this value of t in this equation 4, putting in equation 4, it will give you y is equals to g by 2 times of u square times x square. This will be whole as constant. So y is proportional to x square. Just remember, I have defined you in graph. If a function y is related with x squared to the x, so it will be treated as parabolic. It means the curve of this particular projectile motion would be parabolic. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
it will be asked to define, show that the trajectory of projectile is parabolic. So you will say, since y is directly proportional to x square, hence it is parabolic in nature. Khalid, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, So we have mainly these 6 different formula regarding this horizontal motion, projectile motion. Just write it down. I'm giving you some example how to solve and how to use this formula.
Sir, done.
Okay. Salman.
Yes, sir. Wait a second. Wait a second.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Tiba, have you written?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm giving you one problem regarding this. Ball is thrown horizontally from a cliff so that it hits the ground after 3 seconds at 45 degrees with horizontal. Then find first velocity of projection, height from which the body has thrown, horizontal range, and final velocity. Try to find. First of all, just see in the question. This is 3 seconds is nothing but time of flight, and this is theta at which the body has dropped or fall to the ground. So using it, use the previous equations and try to obtain the rest of the whole part. I'm giving you some hint. Just use this relation first. We have theta, we have gravity as 10, time of flight as 3. So from it, you will definitely find u. Now, on knowing this particular u, you will definitely find rest of the whole term. So first of all, use this equation to find u, and then use the rest of the whole term.
Sir, G we can consider 10, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
take the
sir.
value of g as 10 meter per second squared. Good, Hiba. Try to calculate the rest of the part. Good, Hiba. Good, Khalid. Good. Hamza, send your answer. Good, Khalid. Salman, send your answer. Good. Send rest of the term. Salman. For this final velocity, v is equals to nothing but root under u square plus g times t whole square. We have value of u, which we have calculated here. G is nothing but 10 and t is nothing but 3. Just put them. Okay, Salman. Hamza, you will further solve this particular last result. You can take square root of 9 as 3. So 3 into 30 becomes 90. Okay.
Yes, sir.
To find this particular u, tan theta would be equals to g times t divided by u. Bring this particular u to the other side. So it will be u is equals to g times t divided by tan. For this particular h is equals to half times gt square. G is 10 and t is 3. Just put it. R is equals to nothing but u times time of flight. U is 30 and time of flight is 3 seconds. So it will be 90 meters. And put all these down in this equation, you will find final velocity. So if you put all those values, 10 into 3 divided by tan 45, 1. So you will get 30 meters per second. If you put all these values in this equation, so it will be half g and square of 3. So it will be 45 meters. Range is equals to initial velocity into time of flight. So it will be 90 meters. U is equals to 30 square plus 30 square root under. So it will become 30 root 2 meter per second. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Hiba, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Salman, do you have any doubt? Okay. I'm giving you one more problem. Let's say an aircraft is flying horizontally at 1800 kilometers per hour at height of 800 meters above the ground. It drops a packet find displacement or distance it would shift from target. It means, suppose if you have an aircraft which is flying along this direction at this much velocity, if it had dropped a packet, so this particular object will have same velocity as this particular system. And since it is dropped at this particular instant, so this will be taken as height. And total horizontal distance will travel like this. So all objects acquire the velocity of system whose it is a part. Since this particular packet is initially in the aircraft, so it must have same velocity as compared to aircraft. So it will have initial velocity, same as velocity of aircraft. So it will move like this to fall at this point. So it will miss this particular target by this amount. So we have to calculate nothing but range. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Just try to solve. Okay, Ba, just a minute. Since this particular packet was initially in the aircraft, so all objects acquire the velocity of system which is apart. So as aircraft is going with this much velocity, it means this particular packet must have same initial velocity. So you can write initial velocity is equals to 1800 kilometer per hour. Since it is in kilometer per hour, so we have to first change its unit from kilometer per hour to meter per second. Okay. The next term is the total height at which this particular aircraft is flying is called as h, which is nothing but 800. And we have to calculate, find the distance by which the packet has missed the target. So at the time of dropping, this will be your target point. And by this much amount, it will have missed the target. So we call this particular term as range. So we have to calculate range from this particular expression. Okay, Hiba?
Okay, sir.
Try to solve. Khalid, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. We have initial velocity at 1800 meter per second, kilometer per hour. So just multiply it by 5 by 18. It will give you meter per second. So velocity would be 500 meter per second. Now the next term is height, which is 800 meter. We have a relation for range u times root under 2h by gravity. Just put all the value and try to solve.
Sir, 5 by 18 compared to. I'm confused.
Since this particular term is in kilometer per hour, so I have to convert it in terms of
Oh,
meter per
okay.
second. So I have to multiply it by 5 by 18.
I did without converting.
Okay. Khalid, check your calculation.
Sorry, sir.
Check your calculation. There is some error, I think.
Okay.
U is nothing but 500 root times of H. H is nothing but 800. Divide by gravity, which is 10. 0 and 0 would cancel out. So 8 into 10 becomes 6 and 0 becomes 160. So if we take square root of it, it will become 500 into 4 and under root 10. So 5 into 4 is 2000. So we can write 2 root under 10 kilometer. Now it's clear. Now it is correct, Khalid. Is it clear to everyone, Hamza?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just write it down.
Done, sir.
Hiba, done.
Yes, sir.
Salman, have you written?
Yes, sir. I finished.
Okay. Let's say if two buildings having height A and B, where A is greater than B, are separated by D. Find velocity with which a ball must be thrown horizontally from first building to land on second. First of all, try to summarize and try to draw figure regarding this given information and then apply the formula.
Sir, can you read the question again? Find
Find velocity.
velocity with which a ball. That's ball, right?
A ball must
Okay.
be thrown horizontally I'm giving you a hint how to solve it. Let's say if you have two buildings, this is your first building. And this is your second building. And they are separated by some distance d. This is total height of first building as a meter and total height of second building as b meter. So I have to throw a ball horizontally from first building so that it will reach safely on the second building. For this, draw a vertical line and a horizontal line. Now, if it look like if you are throwing this particular object horizontally to reach the other building safely, it will fall like this. So it is nothing but horizontal projectile. Now for this, we have height from this point to this point, and this is nothing but horizontal range from this point to this point. We have to calculate initial velocity. So how do you calculate this particular h? Just take the difference of these two buildings. It will give you h. And what will be your r? It is nothing but the separation between two buildings. Okay. Now use the concept or relation of r with respect to h and try to find u. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Try to solve. Should I solve? Here h is nothing but a minus b. And there is one relation between r and h. which is nothing but root under 2h by g. Now from this, we have to calculate this u. R is nothing but d, which is equals to u root under 2 times of h, which is a minus d, divided by gravity. So if you have to calculate this u, it would be d times root under g divided by 2 times a minus b. Is it clear to everyone how I have derived this?
Yes,
Hamza?
sir.
Khalid, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Iba, any doubt?
No, sir.
Just write it down. Have you all written?
Yes, sir. Done.
Yes, sir.
Sal-
Done.
okay. Salman,
Yes, sir.
so this is all about horizontal projectile. The next thing is to define angular projectile or oblique projectile. Angular or oblique. Let's say if you have if a body is thrown at some angle theta with respect to horizontal, then it will move like this, reach at maximum height, and then it will return back to the ground like this. So this will be your y-axis, x-axis. The velocity with which the object is thrown, let's say along this direction, would be u at some inclination theta. So it will have two different components, one along x-axis and the other is along y-axis. So first along x-axis would be u times cos theta, and along y-axis would be u times sine theta. So due to these two different components, body will move horizontally as well as vertically both. So in this particular angular projectile, how you will obtain this particular expression, body is thrown at constant velocity u at angle theta with horizontal. Then at its highest point, it will have only horizontal component, and that will be u cos theta. Vertical component would be 0 as there is no any motion on going vertically upward further. So the total height at this particular point defined by the object would be called as maximum height attained by the body, and total horizontal distance it will cover from the starting of journey till it will hit the ground is called range. Now there is one more relation. Suppose this particular object has hit the ground along this direction, so it will further have two different components. The point of projection, the angle is theta, so at hitting the ground, it will remain the same as theta. As we have discussed in free fall or motion of gravity, at same horizontal level, during vertical motion or under free fall, velocity of object would be equal. So let's say this is your velocity of projection. So on hitting the ground, it will be remain same. Similarly, this will be your angle of projection. So at hitting the ground, it will remain the same. So it will have u cos theta and u sin theta as component on hitting the ground. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now we have two different components. First, initial velocity on projection. One is along x-axis, so it will have I component, and second component is going vertically upward, so it will be j component. So final velocity would be nothing but x component, which is going along positive x-axis, so it will be u cos theta times I cap, but the y component is in opposite direction, so we can write it as negative of u times sine theta j cap. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now from this relation, we will find first average velocity. It is nothing but initial velocity plus final velocity divided by 2. If you add these two terms, u sine theta and u sine theta would cancel out. U cos theta becomes 2u cos theta. And if you divide by 2, it will give you just u cos theta I cap. Similarly, if you want to difference of this particular velocity, so it will be final velocity minus initial velocity. So if you subtract these two terms, it will be u times of sine theta j cap 2 times. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Just write it
Yes, sir.
down. Okay.
Done, sir.
Okay. Salman, have you written?
Yes, sir. Done, sir.
Done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm giving you some problem regarding this. If velocity of projection is 2i plus 3j. Find first velocity with which it will hit the ground. Second, find angle of projection. Try to solve these two parts. Solve. Use the same concept as I have derived here and try to define each term. Salman, any problem while reading this question?
No, sir.
Hamza, tell me your answer. Hiba, have you solved?
No, sir.
Just see in this particular expression, if you have initial velocity as u cos theta I cap plus u sin theta j cap, in final term, just reverse the direction of the j component. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So here we have 2I plus 3j. So what will be its final velocity? Hiba, tell me.
U cos theta I cap.
Which is equals to 2. So we can write 2I cap. The next, there will be negative sign in
Minus
y
3j cap.
component. Good. So this would be your final velocity. Now, since this particular 2 is nothing but u cos theta, which is equals to 2, and u sin theta at the point of projection, question asking about angle of projection, not the angle at hitting the ground. So you can write q sin theta as plus 3. Now, if we divide these two terms, u and u would cancel out. Cos theta upon sin theta would give you cot theta, which is equals to 2 by 3. And if you have to calculate this particular theta, move this particular cot to the other side, or it will be written like cot inverse of 2 by 3. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, the next part is to define average velocity. We have a formula of average velocity as simply u cos theta I cap. So it will be nothing but 2 I cap. And the last one, which is nothing but change in velocity, which is equals to minus of 2 times of u sin theta j cap. So it will be minus of 2 times the y component. So it will become 6 times j cap. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Salman, any doubt?
No, sir.
So from this initial part, you may first write it as u cos theta is equals to 2 and u sin theta is equals to 3. Now, from this 2 value, put all the term in this equation and try to find the rest of the whole part. Or you may write this term like this and so on, try to solve the rest of the whole term. I have calculated this angle in terms of cot theta, but if you divide these two terms as tan theta, sin theta over cos theta, it will become 3 by 2. So if you move tan theta to the other side, it will be 3 by 2. But in some problem, they will ask you to find theta in terms of sine or cos. So how will you convert this particular theta, which is in terms of tan theta, here in terms of cot theta or cos theta or sine theta? So for this, just draw a triangle and let it be theta. From this expression, tan theta is equals to perpendicular by base. So using it in terms of this particular theta, this will be your perpendicular and this will be your base. So square of these two terms and square root over it. 3 square is 9 and 2 square is 4. 9 plus 4, 13. So your hypotenuse will be 13. So from this, we can write sine theta is equals to perpendicular by hypotenuse, or theta is equals to sine inverse 3 by root 30. So your answer may be in terms of this. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Khalid, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, just write it down. Done.
Yes, sir, done.
Salman?
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay. So this is all about this particular angular projectile. In next class, we will define how to derive range, height, time of flight using these components. Okay. And there are some more relation in between them. We'll explain it in next class. So in doubt from today's class to anyone of you?
No, sir.
Okay. So try to revise this whole concept and try to solve all the problems which we have discussed today. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
Allah, sir.